Hello and welcome to Breezy Chatter. Today I'm going to be talking about the bold and the beautiful, but first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to all of those who are subscribed to my channel. Your subscription is highly appreciated, and let's get started. So it looks like we have Brooke and Hope talking at the cabin, and of course they're talking about Douglas, and Brooke can't help but blame everything that's going wrong in their life on Taylor. Brooke reassures Hope that no one is going to take Douglas away from her. And Hope says she just can't understand why they can't just be happy that Finn's alive. And Hope can't help but feel that the Forresters are picking on her. And she says that they have so much to celebrate. Why start a fight? Why start a fight? No one's starting a fight. Thomas just wants time with his son, more time than he's been allowed lately. And Douglas needs that as well. But Hope, she doesn't understand that, and she sees this as the Forresters or Thomas trying to start a fight with her. And Brooke, she reassures Hope that she doesn't have to worry. She's going to have a word with Taylor, and she's going to let her know exactly how she feels. So we have Brooke at Steffi's place, and she's talking to Taylor. But instead of bringing up the situation about Thomas wanting to spend more time with Douglas, she brings up the kiss that happened between Ridge and Taylor and Monica. And of course, she puts her own spin on it. She tells Taylor that she doesn't appreciate her kissing Ridge. She tells Taylor that she was out of line. And Taylor, I really liked her energy this week. She was really not giving any Fs. She was telling Brooke, I'm tired of you, in other words. And not only am I tired, Ridge is tired. Taylor also tells Brooke that Ridge is finally coming to the realization that he's spinning his wheels where she's concerned, and that Brooke is not willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, which means to put him first, put him before Hope's needs, and be supportive of Ridge's children. These are things that Brooke will never do, and Ridge is starting to come to that realization, and he has to decide if it's something that he can live with. And Brooke also had the audacity to say that Ridge's kids don't need him. How selfish can you be? It's so easy for Brooke to talk about what other people's children need, but when her daughter has any type of conflict with anyone, here she comes to the rescue. Here she comes, Mama Bear, trying to solve any of Hope's problems so that Hope doesn't have to deal with conflict on her own. But she could sit there and talk about how Ridge's kids don't need him. I just wish Ridge was around to hear Brooke say these things. Although I'm not certain if it would even matter. Brooke does whatever she wants, and Ridge, he hardly ever puts his foot down where she's concerned. But Taylor, she did tell Brooke that she does not need Ridge, but she'd like him to be happy. So while Hope is worried about Douglas spending time with his father at the Forrester mansion, Brooke is doing all that she can to reassure her daughter. And it turns out that Douglas spends not one night, but 2 nights at the Forrester mansion because Eric decided that he wanted to have a family dinner. And that included Steffi, Finn, the kids. Lee was there. Of course, Taylor and Ridge were there. And it was quite the soiree, I must say. It was a nice time. Everyone looked so happy. Donna was there. And when it looked like Donna was going to make the moment about her, she made it about Eric. She put a portrait up, not of her, but of him. And everyone was so happy to see that. And I think Donna scored some points with the Forresters there. But what Donna did not like was watching Taylor and Ridge interact with each other. Watching Taylor and Ridge talk about their family, talk about their children. And Ridge, he was having the time of his life. And Ridge also said that he's not going to forget the time that they're having right now for a long time. So it just looked picturesque. Everyone was happy. No one was being shady. And although Donna was uncomfortable watching Ridge and Taylor, she didn't speak on it to Eric. She didn't try to intervene or come in between Ridge and Taylor's good time, but she did call her sister and she told her, Taylor's here. And she's here with Ridge and they're having a good time. And actually, you should be here. But in actuality, it was for the best that Brooke wasn't there because Brooke is so selfish. I could see her trying to take Douglas back to Hope's place. I could see her saying, horrible things about Thomas, while everyone is applauding Thomas and Thomas is showing how grateful he is to have the family that he has and all the support that he has. You could see Brooke standing there scowling if she was there. So it was a good thing that she wasn't there. And it was also good for Donna to be there to actually see that it's not all Taylor coming on to Ridge, and that Ridge is very, very comfortable with Taylor. And the way he was touching her and looking at her, to me, I would say that was inappropriate. But of course, if anyone was to tell that to Brooke, she would say it was all Taylor and not Ridge. And although it was great to see the Forresters all together having a good old time, and although it was so good to see Taylor and Ridge together looking absolutely fabulous, we all know that Ridge still wants to be with Brooke. So he decides that he's going to go to Il Giardino and let Deacon know that he did not appreciate him being in his office. So we all know that Deacon has a lot on his mind right now. He is harboring a fugitive. Sheila is in his house, and the last thing he needs is for Ridge to come to his job and make a scene, which is exactly what happened. And although they did not fight physically, Ridge did tell Deacon that he didn't want him in his office. He didn't want him around his wife. He wanted him to stay away from Hope, that he's no good, he is not reformed. And although he may have fooled Hope and maybe possibly fooled Brooke, he knows better, and he knows that Deacon doesn't know how to make decent decisions, and he's not going to do anything but cause Hope and Brooke heartache. Of course, Deacon, he tries his best to defend himself, but he has to know that everything that Ridge is saying is absolutely the truth, as he has Sheila hiding out in his apartment. And Deacon, he almost jumps out of his shoes when he realizes that Hope decided to pay him a visit and she's at his apartment, and he knows that Sheila's there. So when he runs to his place just to find Hope and this mystery woman, which we know is Sheila, who is now going by the name of Nicolina, Deacon doesn't know what to do. And Sheila, she was ready to stab Hope in the chest if she had recognized her. But Hope didn't recognize her. Hope described her as the mystery woman in her father's life. And Sheila was so relieved to find out that Hope hadn't recognized her. And Deacon got there in a nick of time to rescue Hope from being attacked by Sheila. So we're going to have to see just how much longer Deacon is going to continue to have Sheila in his place. And what is it going to take for him to get her out of there? And we're also going to have to see what happens between Taylor and Brooke, because we know their conversation at Steffi's is just the beginning, and rumor has it that they're going to have a paint fight. So that's going to be fun to watch this week. And we'll also have to see what happens between Hope and Thomas when it comes to Douglas and where he lays his head at night. This week was quite interesting. We've got a lot of twists and turns. I think the B&B fans know by now that Quinn is leaving the show, and I think this week is going to be her final week, so we'll have to see how she goes out. And it's going to be quite interesting to see what else unfolds. And that is my commentary. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, and leave comments. Thank you for your time. Until next time, ta-ta.